Hello everyone, welcome back to Grant's Gaming Realm, and today we're going to talk about what video game remakes I want to see, and are they good or bad for the industry. I think remakes are amazing for the industry and gamers as a whole. Remakes give a great opportunity for a new generation of gamers to experience these classic games, and longtime fans to experience an even better version of their favorite game. I feel like games that were made in the PS3 generation or older are allowed to be remade. The Last of Us PS5 remake is really the only example to me, where it looks fantastic, but the remaster still looks great, runs at 60 frames per second, and has the factions multiplayer, while the PS5 remake did not. So I felt like it was a little unnecessary to remake it, but Sony wanted money. And with the TV show and everything that was happening at the time, or about to happen, it made sense. I think games like the Resident Evil remakes, Shadow of the Colossus, Crash Bandicoot trilogy, Spyro trilogy, and Final Fantasy VII are great examples of games that were extremely dated and haven't aged well since they were made 15 plus years ago. It's also really hard to play these classic games without an emulator now, so to have an easy, accessible, better version of these games I think is a blessing. I remember a decent amount of people were giving publishers flack for remastering games when those were coming out left and right in the PS3/PS4 generation. With remasters, yeah, you could just play it on emulator and essentially experience the same thing, but it at least came with like all the DLC for a lot of them, and it makes it an easier way to access those games, which brings in new fans of the series, and you still get a better version of the game most of the time. There's multiple series that I would have never given the chance if it wasn't for the remasters. My first God of War was God of War 3, and when I played the originals, I bought the remasters and it gave me a chance to experience the whole series. Same for the Ratchet & Clank games. My first one was A Crack in Time, and then when the remasters came out, I played the original trilogy. I think it would be really cool if we got remastered/remade versions of the future series, but I digress. My first BioShock was BioShock Infinite. Then when we got the BioShock Trilogy remasters free for PlayStation Plus during COVID, I finally got to experience the whole trilogy. I think you get the point I'm trying to get at. Remasters and remakes give all different types of gamers a chance to experience amazing franchises they would have never came across originally. Here are some remakes I would love to see. I would absolutely love a remake of Devil May Cry 1 or 3. I think the PS2 Devil May Cries have definitely started to show their age. DMC still plays fantastic, but imagine these games in the RE engine with new gameplay mechanics and style switching. My god, I would die in heaven. I know the Switch and the PC versions of DMC3 have style switching, but I haven't experienced it yet, so come on Capcom, we all know you like money. I actually think these remakes are likely to happen at some point since they're getting a lot of success with the Resident Evil remakes, and I think it would be a great way to bring more fans to the Devil May Cry series. Maybe even a Turok remake would be really cool. I've seen gameplay of the classic Turok games, and I know they're basically Resident Evil games with dinosaurs, so I'm all down for that. I would love remakes for Jak and Daxter and or Sly Cooper. Both series are some of my favorite game series of all time, and we haven't seen anything from them since their HD collections and Sly 4 back on PS3. I think with the success of the Crash Bandicoot trilogy and the Spyro trilogy remakes, it shows there's still love for these classic mascot platformers. Sony was going to make a Sly Cooper movie, but it seems that got cancelled once they saw Ratchet & Clank didn't perform as well as they wanted to. Shoot, I would love a Going Commando remake since they kinda already remade the first one. I would still prefer Sly or Jak, but I'll take whatever I can get at this point. One could hope, right? I know probably because of the licensing issues they couldn't do this, but I'd love a remake of NFL Street. NFL Street was one of my favorite sports games as a kid. It was so much fun doing trick passes and stylish moves while holding the football. Game breakers are so much fun just becoming a beast and jumping across the screen to perform a tackle, or jump up 10 feet in the air to grab the ball for an interception. I think in general we need a serious comeback of arcadey sports games, and a remake of the Street series would be a great start. Speaking of comebacks, I would love a remake of Burnout Revenge. The Burnout series is pretty much dead, and for some reason EA decides just to delegate all their racing team talent on Need for Speed. The Need for Speed games are alright, but we haven't come anything close to the Underground days in a long time. I think it's best to put Need for Speed on hiatus and try something new like Burnout. Some of the original developers of Burnout created a spiritual successor called Dangerous Driving. It definitely comes close to the feeling of Burnout, but it's clear they're a small team on a small budget, so there's only so much you can do. Finally, remakes are a great way to preserve gaming history and to bring in new fans of long-running franchises that could use a refresh or have been dormant for years. I would love for publishers to keep remaking games and can't wait for more remakes to come in the future. What do you all think? What are some remakes you would love to see? This has been Grant's Gaming Round. Please subscribe. More gaming content is on the way, and I'll see you all next time.